Hey guys, welcome back to another Electional Astrology video. My name's David and I am your astrologer at Haunted Cerebral Astrology. Today we're going to look at a few elections for the week of August 3rd to August 12th of 2021. Each election is made using only the astrology from the time frame provided, and each election makes use of a particular aspect or phenomena from the week as a means of highlighting that aspect's best features. To anyone who does not know what electional astrology is, well, it's a branch of astrology that uses astrology to pick and choose auspicious times and dates to initiate any kinds of events or ventures that can possibly include starting a business, going on a trip, publishing something, or even getting married. Electional astrology is the branch of astrology that initially got me into astrology, and I like to use it weekly to set little deadlines for myself, as well as to just have fun with the astrology. If you find these elections useful in any way, please consider donating to my channel and or booking a consultation with me. All information to connect with me and my services is down below in the description box. Just click on the link to my new website and we'll get started. So let's take a look now at the astrology and the different elections I have set up for this week. So the first election that I've got is it's focused, I'm trying to make use of the moon's sextile to Venus, and also trying to keep using that the sun is in its domicile, and to really try and use also some of the opposition that the sun's making to Jupiter, and the ascendant it's going to make to Jupiter, and also to get that lot of fortune in the first house. So this election is for, hold on, let me get my annotator. This election is for, oops, I always do that. Whoops. This election is for August 6th, 2021, which is a Friday. And it's for 7 a.m. from Berlin, Germany. But it really doesn't matter where you are. Just try to set the ascendant for 27 degrees of Leo, something around that, just so that it moves into that opposition with Jupiter. And we also want to make sure that the lot of fortune is not going to be in the 12th house. So that was something I wanted to pay particular attention to. So the ascendant for this particular election is that 27 Leo opposition to Jupiter. And it's also has its Lord, which is the sun, also in the first house in Leo domicile. So that's a good thing. So I've kind of made this election for things that are more solar and first house matters, as well as maybe actions that are specific to financial things, because the MC Lord is in the second, and the MC Lord is in its fall in a Mercury ruled sign. So there's something about something very specific and being a bit obsessive with details when it comes to financial or material things on some level, or Venus things like, you know, what I saw it as, at least with action or career, or something maybe more diplomatic, being really focused on that, something with values, something with pleasure, something object of desire oriented on some level. But I think for the most part, to me, this election is more about that first house thing. And with the sun there in Leo, it's like, here I am, this is me, and making a big statement about oneself. Also with Mercury still in Leo there, I think there's something about voicing something from a very personal perspective and showing others like who you are, kind of thing. So something about vitality, action of the soul, steady actions, agency, specific and material motivations on some level. Another reason why I think this chart's a bit interesting too is we have the moon in the 12th house, which is technically not good, but it's in its domicile, which mitigate some things. And it's not in any poor aspect. It's not making any difficult aspects to any of the malefics of any kind. And it's also engaging in a very tight degree orb with the MC. So that's really good. It's like maybe whatever gets manifested or whatever actions take place may be happening from those that are outside of your field of vision. Maybe it's like hidden enemies or hidden secret things that you're not really aware of, or actually maybe doing something in your favor at this time, or helping to make whatever actions you are partaking in that you are really focused on yourself, and you're focused on these like first house things, that the things that are coming from in your peripheral vision are not going to damage you on some level. So that's how I kind of saw it. And the moon also is, it's in that sextile to the MC. It's also in a superior engagement sextile with Venus, who is the MC ruler. And so that's really a good thing. Venus, of course, is in its depression or fall, but there's some mitigations here because Venus is in an inferior engagement trine with the MC. So it's in this tight aspects with the MC, and that always mitigates some difficult placements for planets. It's also in a inferior engagement with the moon. So that moon Venus engagement, I think, is really good. It's really going to help to pull things out of difficult places for Venus, and kind of pull things that the moon's doing out from this like hidden and secret and like far away or like secluded places on some level. Also, Venus is, what else? The Lord of the second, which is Mercury, is in the first, which is the joy of Mercury. And it's really vocal, and it's a really great navigating place. So this is like very great election for doing something that requires a great deal of willpower and agency on some level. And Mercury is also in a engaging square with the MC. So there's something very action, forceful, doing something for yourself about this election. And then also with a lot of fortune in the first house in Leo, and it's co-present with its Lord in the first house. So that's actually a really good thing. Okay, so that's it for my first election. So let's move on to the second one. So the second election I have focuses, I tried to make use of that Leo new moon, and I placed the new moon in the 9th house, which is the joy of the sun. Again, this is going to happen from Berlin, Germany, but wherever you are, just make sure that your ascendant is at 13 degrees Gemini, and hopefully you'll get that separating moon, new moon from the sun. You don't want the moon moving into the sun. You want the moon moving away from the sun, because when it's moving into the sun, that's like kind of in this balsamic phase, and there's some there's complications with that. It's like in its bondings and stuff like that. I mean, technically with the moon within 15 degrees around the sun, it's always going to be in its bonding, but at least here it's like it's literally on that 0 degree range. I mean, moon technically doesn't cazimi, but it's that like very fresh seed planted new moon, and I like that. And then it's in the 9th house of the sun's joy. So this election, like I said, has the ascendant in Sagittarius, which is, it's a day chart. So Jupiter is going to be the benefic of sect. So that's a good thing. And then the ascendant is also in an inferior engagement trine with the new moon too. So there's that connection, like they're connected. They're very so the ascendant's going to represent you, the person taking the action and using the election, and whatever's going to engage with that is going to have a lot of power and a lot of influence over the success of your initiation or your venture. So the Lord of the ascendant is going to be Jupiter here in the 3rd house of kind of busyness, but also in this kind of in the Saturn ruled sign that's very decentralized. So there's a bit of scattering going on, something out into the air, or something trying to bring things together. So I think like with Jupiter being back in Aquarius, trying to bring things that are disparate together. So this could be a good election for bringing big ideas and big outside ideas with that new moon in the 9th. the ninth house of education and mystical matters and big ideas and higher learning. I see this as kind of like trying to bring those ideas into something concrete on some level, or something workable, or something that can be used in one's environment, with Jupiter being in the third house of local environments. So, and Jupiter is also opposing by sign this the Leo new moon. So there's a connection between the ascendant Lord again and the new moon that I'm trying to use in Leo. So I see this as an election for third house and ninth house matters. Solar and Jupiter matters on some level. So just anything that has to do with learning, mind, educations, journeys, knowledge. So things that have to do with like bringing kind of big things out in the world into more local things with the third house. Big things from the ninth house out in the world to more local things and more day-to-day things with the third. It can also be a really good initiation for some sort of publication of some kind, something that's translating a personal experience in your local environment out into the world and seeing that the first seeds of that planted, because the ninth house has something to do with publications and announcements, or imprinting in things and publishing things on some level. So yeah, and then let's talk a little bit more about the moon in this chart. So the moon's in 16 degrees of Leo in the ninth house. Like I said that before, it's a very fresh new moon. It's still within that 0 degree range of a new moon. So I really see this as like a fresh new start to something that's very third house or ninth house matters on some level, especially ninth house matters, which has to do with maybe religion or mystical matters on some level, things that have to do with higher education and learning, also long journeys. This could be a good chart for taking a trip as well because of that third house, ninth house relationship. Could have something to do with learning new things about foreign places or foreign things and bringing that into your local environment. And something that has to do maybe with dreams, or like some sort of new vision that's starting to grow, or some sort of seed that's planted to your vision of the future on some level. So moon is in this mystical ninth house. It's also in the bodily union of the sun. Sun is in the joy and in domicile in the ninth. Moon is in a superior engagement sextile with the midheaven, which makes this really active new moon. It's a very potent new moon. It has a lot of loudness to it. It has a big voice. It can be seen if wanted. It can be really visually seen by people out in the world, because the MC on some level represents that visualness, that knownness, seenness on some level. So moon is also in a superior engagement trine with the AC, which is great, and the lot of fortune too, which is moving out of the basically they're conjunct, the AC and the lot of fortune. And then moon is also adhering to the Lord of the 10th, so it's like whatever kind, which is Mercury. And so it could be that whatever new seeds are planted are going to immediately have a voice, or going to have some sort of exchange that has to do with 10th house matters of career or vocation or actions, things that have to do with publicness and reputation on some level. And then also just that, the lot of fortune, just like the ascendant, the Lord of that is going to be Jupiter, and Jupiter, like I said, is in that opposition with the new moon, as well as with Mercury, the Lord of the 10th. So interesting. It's an interesting election. Okay, last one is on August 11th. August 11th, 2021, just at the end of the day here in Berlin, Germany. So this could be a complicated one for other people elsewhere in the world, but if you can try to make it work, try and make it work. But basically you have the ascendant in 5 degrees Gemini. Literally the minute that Mercury moves into its domicile and exaltation of Virgo. So that was what I was really trying to use, was that ingress of Mercury into Virgo, and it's also the last day of the week until the next week's of election. So there may be more mercurial elections coming up, but this is a really good one just because of the condition of Mercury, since Mercury is not only in its own domicile, but it's also exalted, and in the first degrees of Virgo, Mercury is going to be in its own bounds. So Mercury has a lot of potency and energy and potential to do mercurial matters. In fact, by essential dignities, Mercury is a plus 14 at the 0 degree range. Actually, it could be a good time. I mean, I don't know, maybe if you would use this election for a magical election to do some sort of Mercury talisman, but Mercury in that degree of Virgo is very potent, very, very potent. Next to its exaltation degree in Virgo, this is a very potent place for mercurial matters. So yeah, so let's start from the top with this election. So again, I've got the ascendant at 5 degrees Gemini, 37 minutes, and the ascendant is in an inferior engagement trine with Saturn. So Saturn's going to be the triplicity lord of air in a day chart. So it'll be the secondary triplicity lord, while Mercury is the main one. So that's kind of like the two triplicity lords are engaging on some level because of the ascendant lord, and the ascendant being the lord of the ascendant being Mercury, and in that very tight in that engagement trine with Saturn, the other triplicity lord. And then Saturn's also in domicile and very close to the MC. So there's something very potent about Saturn at this time too. Mercury, like I said, just ingressed into Virgo and is now in the 4th house of home, family, and property, as well as ancestry and roots and things like that. And so I saw this election as a good election for 4th house and 9th house matters, as opposed to that 3rd house, 9th house matters, and something mercurial and Saturnian in nature. So something to do with ancestry, hidden and mystical matters of some kind, dreams, fate, and occult things. So this could be, like I said, a good election maybe for something magical to be done, some sort of ritual or occult matter, since it's like very close to it's in the middle of the night, right around midnight. So there's something very kind of witchy about this election, as well as with Saturn and Mercury kind of being the two planets that I really kind of focused on for this election. And traditionally were the planets that had a lot to do with occult matters, actually. So Saturn having to do with being the gatekeeper of the firmament, so the very last planet in the celestial spheres, and then Mercury being the psychopomp who has the ability to go between worlds, right? So they're very occult planets. Okay, so let's look at the moon in this election. Moon is in the 1st degree of Libra in the 5th house. And then moon is also waxing crescent phase. So there's something about trying to something's been initiated and now it's starting to overcome things, or starting to pick up speed. Things are picking up speed. So there's a lot of action to it. And I think there's a good moon for that Gemini 1st house, which is very closely conjunct the North Node. So something very like active, fast paced, wanting more, increasing in nature to this election. Moon is also in the playful 5th house and shares mutual triplicity with the ascendant ruler. So that's really cool. So Moon is in Mercury's triplicity and Mercury is in Moon's triplicity. So that's kind of cool. Sorry, Moon's in Mercury's triplicity. Mercury, yeah. Okay. Moon is in a superior engagement trine with the MC. So that's makes the moon very active, makes the moon very loud and seen. Even though it's in the 5th house, that's maybe a bit of a more private place, or a more something to do with a personal enjoyment of some kind, but it's maybe your creative endeavors or the things that you're doing that are creative on some level have the potential to have success, to reach achievements, to make it to the top of things. And with the moon, it's always going to be translating the things it just did, which was move from that conjunction with Venus, as well as doing moving from the conjunction with Venus into Venus's sign. So it's translating that interaction with Venus in these occult place, the 4th house, something really specific and mercurial and detailed, and moving it into the ninth house of dreams and mystical places and potentials of the and thinking about the world outside of oneself and kind of a higher culture, a higher philosophy, higher ideas and things like that. So there's something very creative in mixing together these mystical things that are going on. And then Moon is also in a sign-based trine to Jupiter and Saturn in the ninth. So that's just a general kind of thing I wanted to point out that's kind of working in Moon's favor, that it's going to be translating those fifth house matters into things that will unify and things that will kind of start to contemplate and solidify and try to discipline things going on in those ninth house matters. And then last thing I'm going to talk about is the Lot of Fortune. So Lot of Fortune isn't really in any terrible aspect, really. I mean, it's in the 11th house, which is a good thing. The only thing is that its Lord is Mars, but Mars is in the 4th house, which is good. It's in an angle, and it's also it's in a square with the ascendant. So technically it's not a great thing, but I don't think it's a bad thing. And it's good that Mars is engaging with the ascendant. So there's something again about you, the person using this election. You want to initiate things. You want to start some effort, put your efforts and energies into things, something you want to begin or to initiate or to set the tone for. And with Mars in a night chart, it's going to be working in your favor. Maybe you'll have the courage to do something you're a bit afraid of that has to do with 4th house and 9th house matters of some kind. So it could be something with family, it could be something with the teacher, it could be something with governments, could be something with homes, things like that. But overall, I think this is a really good chart for doing something on some level that's somewhat occult, dreamy, mystical, hidden on some level. All right, that's all the charts for this week. I hope that you guys found something interesting out of those. I had a lot of fun just showing them to you. So I'm glad I'm getting back on board with these elections again, because I think it's a lot of fun to engage with the different transits of the week and try to use them in different ways, set interesting deadlines, and have a bit of fun. All right, I hope that was helpful to you. If you found that helpful on some level, please consider liking, commenting, subscribing to my channel. If you want to book a consultation with me, information's down in the description box. You can also donate to this channel if you found this helpful in some way. So thanks again, everybody. And if I don't see you sometime soon, then I'll see you at the next forecast on Monday. Take care. Bye.